Hi everyone and welcome to CSM Mistakes Were Made. This is a video to help folks create their own cast-on bonnets with braided fishing line. And I really like these bonnets. I like these, and I like the split ring bonnets a lot too. These are easy to make, and you can get the materials easily from Amazon. You can use up old yarn that you're tired of or that you don't have much use for, so it's a great project. If you don't want to mess with these, I recommend that you go to the Etsy store of one of my favorite people in our craft, and that's Dwyer. She makes a lot of these, and she sells them for little money. I did type up some instructions, and they're available on my Google Drive through a link that will be in the description. And for those astute people out there who notice things, I believe in the video that you'll see, I might have added one extra row of braided fishing line. So enjoy the video, and thanks for watching CSM Mistakes Were Made. I'm going to try to make another cast-on bonnet for my 84 slot cylinder with braided fishing line. So that's the best stuff, in my opinion, for a very sturdy cast-on bonnet. Let me just show you around my machine. This is a Lamb LT150, and I'm going to use it in a conventional way, just like I would use with my antique machine. So in that, I'm going to be cranking in what's known as camshell mode, where the yarn carrier circles around a stationary cylinder. And that helps kind of make this video hopefully useful for everybody. People who own a Lamb LT150 might well choose to do a project like this in cylinder mode, but it doesn't matter to me, so I'm just going to do it this way. My landmarks, this is needle number 1 over here. So I'll be starting and stopping certain operations at that landmark. I'm going to cut my waste yarn and put that in on the far side of needle number 1. I'll add my ravel cord, which is also the same braided fishing lines, the same stuff. I love it for ravel cord. And I'm going to put that in on the near side of needle number 1. All right, so here I go, adding 1 row of ravel cord. I love ravel cord. It helps separate the working yarn from the waste yarn. I'm going to begin and end it on needle number 1. That is so I don't have a hole, and it's not even a hole that matters. It's just a gap in the knitting that doesn't matter. I prefer to make it really stable. Here's my point. If you do it my way, you have to tease those apart when you're actually undoing everything. All right, so I've got that. I'm going to start my counter over, because now is when I'm going to introduce my project yarn. Also on needle number 1. I've got a little tiny tail, 2.5, 3 inches tail, and I'm going to knit that in on the second round just to get rid of it. Okay, I started my counter over. So I've got 1 row done, and put that little tail we just discussed into the device. So that's the second row, end of the second, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to now put a faux Russian join between this and my ravel cord that I'm feeding through my yarn topper on my LT150. So that's done, as most people know, by clipping the yarn. Okay, so now we do a faux Russian join. Back feed it. We're going to crank that in. Here's the second row. There's the third row. And on the fourth row, I'm going to start adding picot. To do a picot, you want to take the weights off. In my case, I'm going to take the stitch off needle number 1 and put it on needle number 2. I'm going to take the stitch off needle number 3 and put it on needle number 4. So every odd number needle gets its stitch stolen from them and added to the even numbered needles. So that's what I'm doing. It'll take me a minute. A friend of mine gave me this tip. If you need to pull your needle forward and your fingers are city fingers, that is to say not very tough, you can use a pen top or something like it, an empty kind of lightweight tube, to just put over the needle to pull it forward. And that is from Connie Cobb. I'm getting where my needles are starting to go down into the V-cam. So what I think I'll do is put the weight back on and start cranking forward. Now at this point where we're at needle number 1, where we started the picot, those are knitting in, so we're developing that picot edge right there. We're knitting it in, so it gets a little hard to crank. We've now got all those knitted in. Take the soft weight out and put the weights back on. So we're still with our fishing line because we have to knit the other side, so to speak, and then we'll knit some more with the wool yarn to finish and hang a hem. Yeah, as I mentioned, it's really tough to crank these first ones in. One, two, three, and then we're going to crank 4 all together. Do a faux Russian join. We're ending the fishing line. And now we'll add the project yarn back in. So we'll do the faux Russian join again, looping it on itself. Cranking it in over here. So I'm going to reset this. I need to start with getting that to knit in. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now I will start hanging the hem. I'm going to start on needle number 1. So we take the weight off, pull up the cranking, and we look for the tuft of threads that correspond to needle number 1, and we try to find that first one, which is right here, and we'll put it right there. And hang all of these running threads. The first couple are tough for me anyway. Now, I'm going to end over here on needle number 1. Is that important? In this case, not really. We're not going to do anything too fancy with resolving these live stitches. We're just going to knit some waste yarn in and then pick up stitches to grab the live loops and cinch it up. That means we can't cut it too short. We want to cut it a little bit on the long side for 2 reasons. Number 1, it's nice to have a little bit of extra yarn to work with when cinching up, but also to knit in a little ring like this, cut your yarn long. I don't know, that's about 18 inches, probably a little too much, but that's okay. And then we'll start the waste yarn. Begin this on needle number 1. I'm going to crank a few rows of waste yarn. And that's pretty good. And then we'll crank off. And we'll see what we have. I love orange. Maybe that's apparent because I've got my orange shacket on and my orange tea towel, and lots of orange represented in the yarns I choose. Okay, so there's our picot edge. There's the hung hem. Let's remove the old cast on bonnet and the waste yarn. And just as promised, the way I kind of link everything at needle number 1 requires that I kind of tease these apart a little bit. I don't mind doing this. I just kind of pull on these threads, and then when I feel like they're nice and free and clear of one another, I go to the other side, approximately halfway around, grab the ravel cord and pull it out. So that's the old cast on bonnet. All right, here's the new one. So here's our picot edge. Now, picot edges in decorative knitting, that's all you need to do. That's all you've got to do is do that because it's pretty. With respect to a cast-on bonnet, it's really not the picot that we're going to go after. We're not going to go after any of those little tiny peaks, right? What we want, what we're after, is a running thread between them. So that's what we're after, those tiny little running threads. Pull them up so that they become nice little places to grab with a pick tool and place on a needle, one after another after another. I will next show you how to finish off these live loops. For that I need a tapestry needle with a large eye. I'm going to load it. So you can come up through each loop like this, and what you're doing is just catching the live loop. Once you get a bunch of them on your needle, you can pull it through. Sometimes I like to do it from the right side of the work, but this works okay. So then we'll pull it through. And we'll keep going all the way around. So that's why you need a little bit of a longish piece to grab all those live loops. I'll take that off for now, and then I'm going to remove my waste yarn. It looks like I skipped a couple here. Not sure how I did that, but put the needle back on and just get those 2 live loops. It's a mystery sometimes, but no harm, no foul, especially on a cast-on bonnet. There's one, and there's one. But here's what you do next, is you take your yarn and you just cinch it closed. A stockinette always wants to roll. You got to kind of coax it into the position that you want it to end up in. Kind of tuck those in. The next job is to grab a little ring, one of these little split rings, and sew it in. I might as well show you that too. This one must be 1.25 inches. This larger one, this one works just fine. So again, I kind of snug it up. I'm going to come across here to maybe get it to close up. And then it's just a process of going back and forth through the hole, under the hole, and then back through the hole. So I'm sure there's a lot of ways to do this. Okay, so that's pretty sturdy.